guys!
Welcome!
We're here.
So, it's another episode of what? Healthy recipes served up on Livliga
Yep.
with Sheila and
Wolf.
there we go.
Yes.
So welcome. We're so glad to have you join us. We're here coming up on the end of August.
I can't believe we've got through the entire summer.
It's actually my birthday week, so don't tell anybody. I think of this always as sort of the end of summer because
it is.
You know, it's my birthday week.
Yeah.
I used to always, when we were growing up, it was the time when we were still on vacation. School hadn't started. School started after Labor Day, believe it or not, ancient years ago.
Right.
So to me, it was the last gasp. My birthday and this week before, the holiday of Labor Day. So anyway, here we are, and as we kind of are celebrating summer and the dog days of summer, and
98 degrees today is
long. Oh my gosh, and so much smoke from our fires. Oh my goodness. So it's an unusual time. But it is also a time to look forward to Labor Day, spending some time with family if they're part of your bubble. Whoever has been part of your bubble that you can enjoy being with, and thinking about, grilling. Grilling what? We often think of burgers, don't we?
Absolutely.
And so today we thought, as we'd add a little new dimension to the American classic, and do a veggie burger.
A what?
Veggie burger.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been working on this actually for a while. Walter and Cynthia can tell you they've had a lot of veggie burgers this summer.
Many versions.
And I kind of had it on that list. We all have lists of things that we'd like to learn how to do. To perfect. And as you know, during this time when we had more time at home, more time to maybe experiment and do things, this was one of the things on my list. Honestly, inspired by Shelby Kennard, who is AKA the original diabetic foodie. And we did a really fun we did another Facebook Live, which is now on YouTube, with her, really about the Instant Pot and doing Instant Pot black beans.
And I will say, it makes a huge difference.
Oh my gosh, the beans are so different, and oh my goodness, it is super, super easy. And I think our trusty helper today, Cynthia, is going to put that link up for you so you can see the YouTube and learn how to do Instant Pot. That's Landy, if you're wondering. I think we're going to let her out of. You want to let her out of the kennel? The kennel. We're trying to manage 2 dogs and the Facebook Live today with new experiments.
The bone we gave her, she managed to drop outside.
Oh no! So she managed to drop the bone outside of her kennel. Oh well. So at any rate, we do have a YouTube about the black beans, and they're super easy to do, and they make such a difference when you're cooking with these beans. One of the things that we covered was actually black bean brownies. So if you're looking for a complete meal for Labor Day, I would also recommend that you check those out because they are super delicious. I mean, they really don't taste like beans at all. No. And when you make the batch of beans, you're going to end up with a variety of beans to use. So you can use them for these burgers we're going to do today, and then you can also use them for those wonderful brownies, and then you can freeze them. So kind of the first thing about the veggie burgers, and hopefully Cynthia has also shared with you our link to the recipe so you can follow along if you want to. And there'll be some things that I don't know if some of you who are visiting today, hello, if you already have your own veggie burger recipe, but each one, and especially if you've developed it yourself, has different tricks of the trade and different kinds of flavoring to it. So that's kind of one of the things I'm going to share, is the things I've discovered that I think make a tasty burger, and also address some of the challenges.
Because there are actually several challenges. Who knew? Who knew it could be so tricky to make a good veggie burger that stays together?
Okay, so the first time I made veggie burgers, and I do use black beans because part of it's the look of it. Some people like creating veggie burgers that really don't remind you of what a burger looks like. I don't go for the taste in that sense of what a burger is, but somehow visually I kind of want it to look like a charred grilled something or other. So I use the black beans. But the first time I made it, it was so gooey and moist, and that's kind of one of the things we're going to talk about because these are the challenges we have with these. But when when we were all eating it, Cynthia sort of said, "Mom, this sort of tastes like
refried beans.
Refried bean burger." I mean, although refried beans are great, I'm not sure that was what I was going for there. So I really do think there are some challenges. And then, the other thing we always like doing is kind of building the meal around the featured main dish that we're doing. And so today we're going to also share with you our recipe for a really delicious Caprese salad that has heirloom tomatoes and fresh herbs from the garden, the basil, some red onion, and then it has it does actually have some mozzarella in it, but we did grilled. Walter did this earlier so we could share this salad with you. But you do thin slices of zucchini and you grill them, and they're sort of this special taste, and you put a little maybe herb de Provence and a little sea salt on it, and it just makes such a special salad. So we're going to share that with you too to make our meal. So anyway, to start out with, kind of why do a homemade, if they're so hard to do, why do we do a homemade veggie burger?
Why are we doing a veggie burger rather than having a beef burger?
Well, exactly.
I mean, obviously,
another good question.
That's right.
And obviously for our health, I think maybe
it's really good for you.
It's really good for you. It's also truly economical.
Yes.
Doing something based on
particularly if you make it yourself.
Right.
It's much less expensive.
Right, and compared to what you might buy
right.
at the store, I mean, the problem with anything that you buy that's packaged at the store, it tends to be more expensive than something that you would make at home. And honestly, some things you choose to do that because you're willing to pay more for the convenience of having it made for you because it might take a lot of time to do. But veggie burgers aren't like that. At least this burger, as we go through it, you'll see is really easy to assemble. The only thing you have to think about ahead of time if you choose to do it is to do your home, to do the Instant Pot black beans, which I do recommend, partly because it makes a more successful burger, the veggie burger, but you can use a can. You can just use a can of black beans. So if that's what you got in the pantry and that's what you have to make this with, do it. But you do have to get them dry. That's going to be one of the tips that we go over. So part of this is talking about why we do veggie burgers and also the tips to make it as successful as possible to do them.
To make it work.
So anyway, so we're talking economic. We're talking healthier. We're also talking about the fact that you can control your ingredients, right? Because one of the biggest challenges with anything that's prepackaged is that anybody who's providing that for you, they've got to create it as a stable item for you, so they can end up with more, salt, maybe more fat, maybe more sugar than you would choose to put in it. And in fact, there are things often in there like binders that you can't pronounce and you would never put in your burger, right? So it's healthier from that standpoint as well, not only because it's meatless, but because you're not adding ingredients that you can't pronounce.
And the fact that it's healthier also means you kind of feel better having eaten it. I mean,
that's true.
Once we've gone more and more to vegetarian meals, I realize I have this wonderful meal, and then I don't feel absolutely stuffed and bloated afterwards.
Right, 'cause it's all fresh.
It's all fresh, and it's just it just works better.
I agree with that.
So
that's
I think
a really
it is.
good point.
Yeah, it's really tasty.
So so that's kind of the reason why to do it at home. Also, you can do it at your convenience. So as we get organized for the week or whatever, you can look forward to putting together your veggie burgers and having them ready. You don't have to necessarily go to the store if you've got all the ingredients at home. None of them are exotic ingredients. So anyway, so let's get to putting it together, and then we can kind of talk about the tips of how to make it a more successful burger as we go along. Because one of the challenges, let's talk the challenges.
Yeah.
So one of the challenges that a lot of people have is that it's tasteless, right? Because
So
the beans tend to absorb any flavor, and so they can be chalky too. So that I put some olive oil actually in the burger itself, so to kind of minimize that chalkiness.
And I think you're fine.
Yeah. So another thing I do in terms of adding ingredients is I do a whole lime the rind of zesting it, so that I've got that wonderful, I use that microplane, and I have the zest from a whole lime in there. And I mean, that with the ancho chili powder that I put in, just everybody likes it. I mean,
Right.
nobody complained about the flavor. They just complained about the texture. So texture is another piece of this that that can be a challenge. And I learned early on that using a processor, if you're really good at a processor and you've got it down to the poke of the finger, you can do it. But I found it made, the first time I did it, that's why it was like
It really became a puree way too fast.
Yeah.
And then it's just this sort of paste.
Yeah.
Rather than, burgers are kind of crumbly and have texture, and when everything's all pureed together.
Yeah,
it's
so
just
for texture, I really recommend that you hand do this. That you hand, you take a potato masher and mash your own beans, which we'll do in a second. So the taste, putting the right flavorings in, the texture, hand doing it so you've got a good texture. And then you've got to have binders in the veggie burger, even more so than you do in your regular beef burgers, if that's what you do. The other thing is moisture. So one of the challenges is not having it so moist that it ends up being like refried beans, but instead you've got sort of integrated ingredients that hold together with your binders. So the crumbling is the other thing. So that's why we kind of make a big deal about the binders.
You don't want it too pasty, but you don't want it too crumbly.
Yeah.
It's a really fine balance.
So these are we actually did these beans yesterday, and you'll notice that one of the things I try and do is get any extra moisture out of the items, the ingredients we put in. So with the beans particularly, I just, I actually use a paper towel.
But after you had drained them, and
Yes,
so they were really
yes.
pretty dry.
Yes,
and
they
then
were.
when you divided them up, you put each of the divisions on paper towel just to get it really.
Right. And then I have 3 cloves of garlic that we're going to put in here.
Minced.
Thanks to my trusty husband here.
The mincer.
The mincer. Yes, the Monsieur Mincer. And then we're going to put a tablespoon of oil, olive oil. I'm a real proponent of olive oil. You could put another oil in if you have a preference or need to be using a different oil.
But it's so tasty.
It is very tasty. So you start with those 3 and then you mash. So we're going to mash them. And then this is another trick.
That's a left-hand masher, I see.
Yeah. I noticed. Yeah. After all these years. Yes. So we're mashing them, and the thing is you want to mash it enough that they're all kind of broken up, but you don't want to do it so it's sort of a uniform texture. No. You want it to be lumpy. So this is one of the few times in life when you're not asked to make something smooth and perfectly integrated. But we've got the garlic and the oil, and we've got the beans. I'm going to make a noise here. And I mean, I wonder how many people still have potato mashers. Well, this is actually a pretty new one because our old one had kind of finally I think we lost it in a move or something, or it was so old I think one was kind of splintering in my hand because it was a wooden handle. So that's about all I want to do. And then I'm going to get some of this extra bean out. And it's so easy because once you do this, you really add all the other ingredients in all at the same time. So again,
that was the hardest part.
How hard was this?
Yeah. That was it.
Yeah. So mashing, so you get a little exercise in when you, and honestly, it's not that hard. I think I'm done here. So if you wouldn't mind taking that from me. So I'm going to kind of loosen this up from the bottom, and then I'm going to add, this is breadcrumbs. And the easiest thing in the world is to make homemade breadcrumbs. You just take an old piece of bread that you have.
And there was 1 slice of bread or 2?
One slice of bread. It makes, probably close to a cup of breadcrumbs. But then you don't, you just have, it's one of the binders. So breadcrumbs, I use the breadcrumbs to bind. So the egg and the breadcrumbs are kind of my way of hopefully getting the burger to stick together. Then I think the taste and the texture of mushrooms, this is Portobello Mushroom, and it's just 1 cap. So you just chop up pretty finely. So both the onion and this mushroom is done pretty finely.
Right.
Because you want it fine enough that it can all kind of be pushed together. So you don't want too big, but you don't want it so small that it ends up...
It's like a dice, not a fine chop or a dice.
Yeah, that's right. And then I also with the, and again, it depends on where you live, right? Okay. So moisture, if you live in a really humid environment, you have to pay attention to that when you're cooking, particularly when you're trying to make something that'll stick together, not be too liquidy, and cook well for you on your stovetop. Grilling these, I honestly have not yet succeeded in that, so when I learn that, I'll share it with you. But in a cast iron skillet, this is great. You can also make your burgers, your veggie burgers, and bake them in the oven and kind of crisp them. So there are a couple of ways.
And that's a really safe way to do it.
Right, so that they don't crumble. Because the main trick and tips with that is so that you you don't have them crumble on you when you're actually cooking them. So we're putting, we put the onion, we put the mushrooms in here.
And the onion was half of a medium?
Exactly, half of a medium onion.
Yeah.
And now the whole lime, the rind of a whole lime. And so that's in there, and it really does add a wonderful flavor, particularly because we're going to put a teaspoon of ancho chili. You can use any chili powder. I personally have recently fallen in love with ancho because it's kind of a pure chili. It's the ancho chili powder rather than the chili powder that you buy at the store that just says chili powder. It's actually an amalgam of a variety of different spices. It's not a pure pepper, which I learned fairly recently and I thought was interesting, and this is, so I'm super excited about it. And it's not so hot. It's flavorful, it's warm, it's not a hot spice. So it kind of depends on what you're after. I then went out to the garden and got some fresh oregano. So this is fresh oregano, a teaspoon of that. And then cumin. I love the kind of smoky depth the cumin gives. It's earthy, yeah. And that goes really well, I think, with the chili powder and the lime. So then I finish up with the kosher salt, and that, again, according to taste, I've got a half teaspoon here, so I'm going to put that in here. And then, can you start mixing up the egg for me? So then you just, you add one egg and you lightly beat it, and we're going to use our little trusty Livliga beater, whisk, and add that to it. And whilst getting that done, I'm going to set up my plate. One of the things that, just like with burgers, I use wax paper, and so that I can get the burgers off.
It just makes it really easy when you start to cook them. You can separate them off, and they don't get
particularly when you've got something that's a little tricky anyway. Yeah. So I'm just putting 4 squares, and I do it so I have 4 squares so I can handle each one separately. And I just put them on we're kind of featuring Livliga today, so we're featuring our beautiful blue because it kind of goes well with the red, white, and blue of Labor Day, honestly. And so that's what we're going to serve up on today with our veggie burger meal.
Hulsa.
Our hulsa, yes, which means basically to life, to celebration, to your health. So we got this ready to roll. So I'm pouring in the mixed up egg, and then this is when you get to make all sorts of fun mess with your hands. So I'm now going to stir this up just a little bit, and then I'm going to, and you probably want this, Walt, over there for your 2 tablespoons. Oh, here, you can use this too. I don't know if you already have.
I have stuff there.
Oh, you do. Good job. So, so I'm gonna have fun. I love getting my fingers. It's sort of like gardening, don't you think? If you're someone who loves to cook, part of it is kind of getting in there and using your hands. I find it's very kind of cathartic and good for the soul, right? So I've got this kind of mixed up here, I think. And now I'm going to make 4 burgers. So basically with the 1.5 cups of your black beans, or the can of black beans that you've really drained and dried, with the other ingredients, you then make 4 burgers out of it. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to split this up a little bit. It helps my eye when I do that. And then I'm going to dig in there. You're going to dig in there?
I'm watching.
He's going to actually cook the burgers. And so, again, one of the challenges is, why we hand do it is so that we've got, we can kind of keep control of the texture. The other thing is to really compress these when you're putting them together, so that they stick together better. And I kind of make it into a little bit of a ball, and then I start. You want them thick. You don't want them real thin. And there's enough here that. Is there a reason why we have a barking dog?
I'm sure she went through the other side of the door.
There you go. So,
That's beautiful.
Oops. Yep. See, there you go. Don't mind me. Kind of create. But I try and make them a little round and then a little flat. And there we have a pretty burger.
Perfect.
And gotta go for the next one. And you can really see. I'm going to have Walt share this in a minute, or you can share the other ones that we've got kind of ready to roll here. But you can really see the onion. You can see the bean. If you look hard, you can see the mushroom in this. And that, to me, makes it a more interesting. It's multicolored. You don't want something that's completely uniform. I think just visually, we're big at Livliga about the kind of sensibility of things. And the reason why is because when things are attractive to eat, when we look at something and it's like, ooh, this looks good, then it's going to be more satisfying, right? You're going to have more pleasure out of it.
Well, this sort of looks like, when you do a rice medley or something, and you've got brown rice and white rice and black rice in it. This is sort of that kind of look.
And,
so
a lot of burgers do have rice in it. Rice, it's very starchy. It's not gluten, but it's got its own starch, which helps with the binding. So but
it's not very diabetes friendly, right?
No, it's not, or carb friendly. We kind of consciously picked what's in here so that it is something that anybody can eat. It's really a vegan burger too. Oh, the egg. You can do egg replacement though, for those who are truly, vegan. That's really the only thing you'd have to pay attention to, and it works really well for these burgers. That is not a hard thing to do. This might be a little big, I don't know. I may have made one burger a little larger than the others. But as you can see, I'm kind of compressing this as I go.
Looks good.
But doesn't it look good?
Yeah.
And
compared
to the first ones I did, these are a huge improvement.
Yes.
And again, the flavors, I'm telling you what I do that's worked successfully for my family. You might want to put more chili powder in it. You might want to, add other kinds of herbs or spices that are to your taste. And that's the wonderful thing with this burger. You can use the basic ingredients of the burger and then add your own
really
spices.
But it is true, the lime and ancho pepper, although they make it really flavorful, it's not like it doesn't taste like it's a lot of lime at all. It just makes
it's brighter.
Really,
it's kind of,
it really
and it just with the chili powder, that's why in in a lot of Spanish or Mexican foods, those are combinations of flavors that exist together because they do speak to each other really well, and they kind of accentuate the good flavors of those two things. So I've got a little more in here that I'm going to add.
Yeah, am I going to actually cook these, or am I cooking?
No. You have to cook the ones in the refrigerator. Would you like to get the ones in the refrigerator?
That's what I thought.
Because that's one of the tips that's really important that I want to make sure to point out. So we've talked about how we don't mash it up too much, that we do it by hand, that we compress it as we're making it. These are kind of tips to make your veggie burgers successful. And then the other thing is we really want to refrigerate them so that they get cool, because that'll help them stick together as well. So this sticking together thing is really actually the biggest issue of these veggie burgers.
So that's what they look like before they're done. So they really are fun.
So these burgers are going to go in the refrigerator as well. And now I've got really gooey, fun hands that I need to rinse. here.
I'm going to put this.
And those are going to go in the refrigerator.
Okay.
And then we're probably going to bake those and freeze them. So the challenge also sometimes with a veggie burger is that they don't store very well once you've cooked them. You know, it kind of depends, but if they're at all a little crumbly, that's a challenge. And so one of the things you want to do, maybe, we did a double batch so that we could do what we're doing today for you as we're sharing healthy recipes served up on Livliga. But so half of them we're going to freeze after we've cooked them. So I think it works better to cook them and freeze them. And that's the nice thing is you can do that. And now you hear the sizzling. Walt's going to actually cook these burgers here. And that's another, so I keep giving you tips. So we've, you know, talked about how we need to put it in the refrigerator before we cook it. Well, when we're cooking it, we need to leave them alone. So one of the things all of us do when we're kind of frying something up in a pan is we often aren't sure whether something's ready or not, and so we turn it, and then we turn it back, and then we turn it again because we're trying to get it a certain brownness. Well, with a veggie burger, that is like death to the veggie burger. So you don't want to do that. It will make it crumble way too fast. So what I recommend is that you put enough oil in the pan. So we've used 2 tablespoons of oil. You don't need to use as much as that. That's just what I suggest. I'm a chicken at heart, so I put that much in there. Your burger will still be just 178 calories. So it's from a calorie standpoint, and we do use olive oil, and as we know, olive oil is a good thing for us. But that allows you to slide them, you know, because again, you don't want them to be hard to get up because that'll kind of accentuate the crumble challenge. So you put the oil in, and then you're going to leave them alone for about 5 minutes. And you start on a high temperature to kind of crisp it, and then you're going to lower it to allow it to brown. And then you're going to give that about 5 minutes. And it kind of, again, depends on where you are. Sometimes it can take a little, or your stovetop, you know, how hot is it really? But you turn it down to kind of medium high, and get that nice and brown, because that kind of is also part of the binding, is getting that kind of a little bit of the crust and brown on the bottom. And you take about 5 minutes to do that. And then you're going to turn it over once, right? So you're not going to turn it over and then turn it back. You're just going to leave it alone.
Right, a strong 5 minutes.
Strong 5 minutes, and then you're going to turn it over. I would do equal. I mean, that's kind of what I did last time. And then you have it nice and brown, which is actually kind of a delicious taste anyway, is to get it nice and brown on both sides.
And tell me about buns. What are we going to do about that?
Yeah, well, this again is up to your preference. We like to toast ours, so maybe that's something you could do now at the same time. And so I just got, I go for the buns that aren't the hugest anymore. You know, some of these buns are just crazy big. And so I actually made my own buns once for a party. Do you remember that? We had like 50 people and I made, they were good. It was a labor of love. So I don't do that. I buy buns. And we've also gotten the brioche buns or the pretzel buns. I didn't find that this time. So these are just sesame topped Pepperidge Farm buns. And they're just kind of a nice decent size, but they're not those huge ones. So we're going to toast those for us. And you want another one?
I thought I'd do all 4.
Okay, sure. Sorry, I don't know why I didn't give them to you. Here you go.
Thanks.
So we've got 4 buns that he's going to toast. And then while he's doing that, so that really is it. It's not hard. It's just that you kind of have to be mindful of kind of why we're doing it the way we are, is to make it a successful veggie burger. And we're kind of testing this out on Walt because I've been doing all the veggie burgers. So this is the true test today because Walt's doing it for the first time.
And I will say, I would normally do things on the grill outside, but these are just too dangerous.
Yeah, you could do, you know how we do vegetables, you know, you have the grill, the basket. You could do these. So if you're doing other kinds of things like, you know, beef burgers and hot dogs, and you've got a variety of, you know, bubble people with you, you can certainly do the veggie burgers in the basket, or you can just do them ahead of time and just keep them, you know, warm in the oven. and just bring them out when you're ready to serve up. It makes it easier just not to worry about the crumble piece. And then the other thing we love doing is, this is the caprese. Do you want to share the caprese while we're waiting our 5 minutes? So for us, the perfect meal is a caprese salad, because you can kind of put it on top of your burger as well. So it's your salad, it's your vegetable, and it's also the toppings for your burger. So you can have a little on the top of your burger, and then you have some on the side as your salad. And it has the red onion. This has actually wonderful heirloom tomatoes that we got from our CSA, and we also had zucchini from the CSA. And so the caprese salad, it's on our actual website. So if you go to livligahome.com and you go to the lifestyle area and find our recipes, we also have, I think Cynthia's helped by posting it on our comments on this video, but we actually have this recipe, and it's so delicious. And so you do a little bit of your mozzarella, and there are a variety of different choices of mozzarella these days, which is nice at our grocery store. So you can just pick what suits you the most. And then very thinly sliced and grilled zucchini, the wonderful tomato, and I also thinly sliced the red onion. And then you put some of your own dressing. And I make a homemade French vinaigrette. There's a light version of that that's also on our blog, which is blog.livligahome.com. And just a drizzle of that on top, so that it's delicious on top of your burger, but it's also a great salad. And then I went outside, and as you saw, there's some basil on it too. So it's just, it's a simple salad to put together. The hardest part was the grilling of the zucchini, but boy, is it good. It's worth it.
And honestly, that was really very easy.
And it wasn't that hard, fortunately. So, and we also have a new food processor. I don't know if you guys have watched our previous videos, and particularly the ones that we've done with Celebrate Vitamins, our series with them. We did a whole session on a food processor, and ours was 30 years old. And we finally, we replaced the bowl several times in the top, but we finally couldn't replace it anymore. They just don't make the model anymore. So we broke down about a new food processor. Oh, it's so fun when you get something new. So this one actually allows you to do longer slices of things. So it made really beautiful ribbons of the zucchini. So it's so pretty in the salad. So that's what we have, and then we're making homemade baked fries, and those we also use the food processor. It just makes it so easy to do, the slices, uniform slices of the, of the potato. And then we do them, and there's also a recipe for that, wild fries, on our website, livligahome.com. And, you put some oil and some granulated garlic on them. I mean, really, it could be as simple as that. And then bake them at a pretty high heat, like 425 for about 25-35 minutes. And you get them crispy on the outside and yummy on the inside. And we serve up with this salad and those. This is actually a common meal for us. So when we're having burgers, and we've gone to doing more and more veggie burgers, it's just a delicious meal, and it's kind of a simple summer, but visually attractive and tasty and satisfying, and also can be used as sort of one of our holiday menus, right? Because it's got a flair to it, right? That's what we look for when we're doing holiday meals. And then don't forget, I mentioned that with the extra beans that you've made in your Instant Pot, you can make those brownies. I mean, they are really good. And it's got a little bit of chili powder in it and cinnamon. So those brownies are really special. So they're great for an occasion. And if you're going someplace and wanting to take a treat, they're not hard to do, and they are very tasty. And something where people could go, oh my goodness, that's really great. You brought these? And then you go, oh, yes, I did. And that's thanks to Shelby Kennard, by the way. It's her recipe. That I fall in love with. That's the wonderful thing about having cooks as friends, is you take their great ideas and make them your own and enjoy them in your own home. So how are you doing? Are you feeling good about your
I'm
burgers?
good.
Did one have
one had a problem when I put it on.
Okay.
But everything else really has stayed together, so that's good.
Good. They are a challenge. I mean, there's no perfect solution. Sometimes it works better than others. Who knows why?
But
I do think moisture is...
This is much better than anything I've done before.
Awesome.
And I do think how you compressed them and held them together was really helpful. And then I think keeping them all together, not moving them at all, just really stand back and let them sear.
Yeah, which is hard for us. Have you noticed how hard that is to do? So, that I think sometimes patience in cooking is the greatest gift you can give yourself when you're trying to figure out how to do things. It makes me think of Julie and Julia, I think is the name of that movie, the wonderful movie with Meryl Streep and Amy Adams, and where she's taken on the challenge of cooking all of Julia Child's recipes for a year. I kind of think of patience when I think of that movie, which was a wonderful movie. And I think we're all looking for good movies, right? Haven't we all kind of run out of... We're looking for new series, so if you have any good ideas on new series, I want joyful, happy, or at least happy ending, uplifting. This would be good.
There's a term for that? HEA.
HEA? What's HEA?
Happy Ever After.
See, that's me. That's me.
You can search for HEA movies.
HEA? Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh my gosh! Did you? You probably already knew this, but I'm always learning things. So when we get our burgers, we also top them. We love horseradish. So I kind of have this, just like your ketchup and your mustard. We have this in our refrigerator. Like a teaspoon of that, and we love the various Dijon mustards. This is a rich country, which is kind of a mix of the kind of kind of coarse country, the coarse meal mustard, and then the smooth, Earl Grey. Earl Grey? No. Earl.
Just Dijon.
Grey.
Grey Poupon.
Grey Poupon. That's what I was trying to go. I'm thinking teas here. I don't know why.
Creamy like her.
Yeah, right. So anyway, that and your ketchup. So
let me have a plate.
Here's your plate. Here's your wholesale plate.
Perfect.
To serve up. And I thought our potatoes would be done by now, but it doesn't.
No, I've turned them up at this
Okay,
point.
good. We cooked them a little lower because we wanted them to take a little longer to cook since we were doing it during this Facebook Live. But consequently, it's taken a little longer than we thought to do them. So, but that is, as you know, what we cook is what we eat, and so this is what we're going to enjoy tonight. So I'm going to check my notes here and make sure, but I think we...
Look at that, though.
Doesn't that look beautiful? Are you gonna serve that up and then go share with the group? And maybe don't put it on top so they can see what it looks like, and we put it on afterwards. But these tomatoes, oh my God, they're this big. They're huge. You want to go take that over? And I think I really did share. We did share kind of the keys to the tips, and hopefully Cynthia's also shared those with you. And they're also on the blog about the veggie burger that has the actual recipe. Also includes the tips, so you can always have them available and as a reminder and refresher of kind of some of those steps that help when you're cooking and cooking these up. And I hope you enjoy them because they hopefully will add a new dimension to your repertoire.
There, look at that.
Isn't that pretty? Doesn't that look like a good veggie burger?
Great veggie burger.
We did it! We did it! I sort of feel like this is one of, a lot of redos that I do or new things I do aren't quite as challenging as this, but these burgers are a challenge, but I think it's worth it. I think they're tasty. I think, we keep trying to eat healthier and healthier, and we're committed to eating at least 2 vegetarian meals during the week. We got 2 chickens and 2 fish and 2 vegetarian and 1, kind of the classic red meat if we want, or any of the others, depending on what's going on that week. So, this is really helps us make it also easy, so we can do it. So I'm gonna add a little of our toppings on here so we can take a bite. And I also remind everybody that we will be here again next month with healthy recipes served up on Livliga. The date, I have to find that. It's going to be, September 22nd. Good job. Did you already have that in your head?
I did.
So September 22nd, you know, they're always at 5:30 Mountain Time. And we're going to do a really fun one.
I know. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So these are going to be individual pizzas. And we actually get this store-bought pizza dough. So it makes it even more fun. So you could create your own dough and do them, but this kind of eliminates
It's very easy, and it's so good.
And it's
and
so
you
good.
divide it up in fours, and then you make 4 little things.
And have you discovered pepperoncini? So anyway, we're going to show you the recipe and share that with you all in terms of how to make a really delicious pizza. And we're going to have fun with flour flying and cooking of the shells of the pizza and building our own pizzas.
And cornmeal to let it slide on and off.
So we're going to show you the whole tricks of the trade for that. So,
sounds great.
So that's going to be next month. And now we're going to taste up our veggie burger. And you are like me, so I can put this on, right? So we got some horseradish. And we're going to do a little mustard. And I'm going to add that to it.
And then, honestly, I would then add just one more of these because I still eat the other one.
That's okay. That's okay. We can, because it kind of is the whole flavor sensation, you know. Here, let me put this on for just half a sec. Okay, do it. I'm ready for you to.
Right there.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Oh, it's falling off.
Oh no.
The burrata. Oh, so good.
Oh my gosh, the burrata. Have you all discovered that kind of mozzarella? It is so delicious. So we're gonna. You probably want me to cut this in half, don't you?
Sure, need you to.
So it's interesting. Some people keep
Oh,
their.
maybe it's a mistake with this.
Well, let's try it out. Well, this is truth in the process. Oops. I think I should have kept it whole. I should have had a sharp knife is what I should have had.
Too late.
Too late, baby. Okay. So, we're going to pick it up. I'm going to take the first bite.
Okay. I got it. How is it?
It's really good.
Oh, good. Oh, good.
So, I hope you all enjoy it. I hope you try it and let us know. It's not just the most delicious thing. So, we've so loved having you with us. Thank you for sharing your time. We love sharing our kitchen and our adventures in the kitchen with you. And we hope you'll try out the veggie burger and let us know what you think.
That's the best, yeah. It really is. It's crispy on the outside. Yes. It's great. So, really well done.
We keep working on it.
Yeah.
So we hope to see you next month. And
Thanks.
We'll do individual pizzas. So take care and have a good Labor Day. Oh, and I forgot one thing. I know I'm always like this.
That's okay.
But if you're wanting the tools to help you create the healthy, these healthy meals, we do have a healthy cooking bundle available right now. So go check it out on our website, livligahome.com.
They're great deals.
And they're great deals. They're significant savings, and we give you free shipping. And they're wonderful as a gift to yourself or a gift to somebody else that you're thinking about and wanting to support during these times. So anyway, I forgot to mention that, but thank you for letting me peek that in. And we'll see you next week. Oh, next month. I wish it were next week.
That's it.
But it's
the
next
22nd.
month.
Okay.
22nd of September.
Bye-bye.